Hey everyone, it's Jonathan from Motorcycology. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Your support is greatly appreciated. So thanks again so much for that. So in today's video, I'm not going to be working on the C3 Corvette, and I'm not going to be working on the Suzuki Gixxer there. I'm going to be working on my 1987 Honda CRX that I've had pretty much my entire adult life, and it's still running and looking good. But in today's video, we've got to swap out the starter motor, which died about a week ago, order the part, have it in, and now I'll be switching that up with a brand new refurbished starter motor. So hopefully everything will work out fine with that. You may see some additional colors on here. I'm also in the process of repairing the front grille and the side fenders. So in the meantime, I've got a front grille and a side fender that I repaired a few years ago. At least repaired on the inside. That's not repaired on the outside as far as the final finish with it, but I'll be doing the same with the red ones as well, and we'll have those on as soon as I can. So in today's video, it's all about getting this car working again. And as you can see, it's a super small space. So it's a tight space to try and get in there to work on the starter. And in the video, I'll try and show you to the best of my ability what is required to get this done. So stick around for the video and let's get into it and see how it goes. All right, I finally got the starter in for the Honda CRX, Honda Civic. So I'm gonna open this and check out the starter and see what it's like. It's not easy to find replacement parts for these, so fortunately there's companies like Rock Auto that tend to have them. So let's check it out. And you always get one of these things with them. So I've got a whole bunch. Tons of packing material. There's the starter motor box. It's a remanufactured product. Almost impossible to get a brand new one, but this will be as good as new anyway. So I'm gonna open that. Okay, let's check this out here. There it is. Super small, but I know just visually that this is it. So next step, we'll be taking out the old starter and then getting this one in, and I'll show you more about what this looks like once I get ready to install it. But yeah, it's the right part, which is a great start here. Such a small motor. That's it right there. That's the starter motor, and there's the solenoid on it. So super small, but super small engine. Can't wait to get this installed. So looking at this car, I just took off the red grille, I guess, and I also have a fender on there as well, as I'm repairing the red ones. And my car's so dirty because it was sitting under that tree there, which is just pollinating at this particular time in the spring. So the new panel, or the original panel, I'm working on, and I'll be fiberglassing that on the inside. But as of now, I've got these supplementary panels on there so I can still use the car. So there's the starter motor under there, or the replacement starter motor, and the actual starter motor is way down here, which it is basically this hidden clump under here. So it's underneath this hose, which I'm going to take out of the way a little bit here. And the actual starter motor is under here. So one of the bolts to get it off is here, and the other one is on the underside, which is pretty tight, but thinking I'll be able to get it done without too many problems and get the new one in as soon as possible so this thing can start up without having to bump start it. Anyway, let's get on with that job. So before I get started, I'm just going to disconnect the battery, and I'm choosing to disconnect the negative pole because I've got a couple other things in there that I don't want to disturb. So let's take this one off. And that is that simple. So I'm going to be working on getting this bolt out for now, and the one underneath, which is almost impossible to see, I think. Yeah, you won't be able to see it until I get the wrench in there. Anyway, I'm sure there's not too many people in the world that have to work on these type of things. I'm just doing this video to make it interesting. I can't even really get a good video down there. So anyway, let's see how we go. Well, to get access to the starter motor, I'm going to have to take this battery out, and that way I can get a tool in that way. So let's remove the battery. Take the battery tray out. There, with the battery compartment empty, I get better access in that way, which is what I'm looking for. All right, let's try out this one. Ah, perfect. All right, we're got ourselves hooked up here. Loosen this one bolt. This is the easier of the two bolts as well. Still working on the top bolt here. Oh, such an awkward spot. There we go. Number one done. So down here, there's a couple electrical things to take off, which I'm going to do. And I got the bottom one off already. And it's just about taking that guy off, which is that thing there. And then this one. Which is that guy under there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. There we go. Those two things have to come off, which I'm going to take them off now. Get a little bit more access. I'm going to get this thing out of the way. So yeah, just down in this area here. Decided I'm just going to zip tie all this stuff up temporarily, give me a little bit better access. There. Got that tied up. Now I can have better access to that. All right, let's get down here and try that out again. Oh man, nasty. Try this guy. There we go. Hopefully the same size nut would be awesome. There we go. So now you've got these two parts, or 1, 2, 3 parts of the solenoid disconnected. Now I got to get the final bolt out so I can pull the starter motor. Working on the last bolt, which was easier than I thought, at least to take out. All right, there's the other bolt there. So we're moving ahead. Should be able to pull the starter out now. Let's see if it's going to come out. Oh yeah, pretty good. There we go. Oh, there's some stuff hooked onto this thing. All right, let's get this starter motor out now, finally. It's coming out. There we go. There's the old starter right there. Now I'm gonna get ready to put the new starter motor in. Doesn't look too bad, but I guess it's had better days. So here's both the starter motors. Before I put this one back in the car, let's do a side-by-side comparison and see if they look close enough. There we go. So this one here looks super great. Identical and ready to go. Click this thing off. Looks pretty much the same. There's the old one. Looking pretty good for, I don't know, 30 something years old. 1987, 30, 35, 36 years old. Not bad, looking pretty good. So I'm going to try and get this one installed in the Honda CRX and wrap this job up. So let's try that out. There we go. This one's good to go. The first thing that I need to do is I'm going to line this up in the space and then get the bolts in place. I hope it goes well. I really don't know at this time how it's going to go. All right. I think I got this pretty much organized.
We will see. I need to screw something together on here first, though. Oh no. What I'm doing is I'm in the engine here. Let me show you. From way out here, coming in. And I'm just attaching this wire harness onto this bracket, onto the starter motor. And you need to get this done before you attach the starter motor, which is right over here. Down here, I don't know if you can see it. Getting ready to put that in. There's where the bolt goes up there. So I'll be moving the starter into that position and tightening it up. So as you can see, super small area to try and get at. Hey, it's me again. I'm about halfway through this project of getting that starter in, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I'll be able to get it in, and then we're gonna try and crank the car and hopefully it'll work. I did do some pre-diagnostic stuff and it's leading towards the starter, so that's why I'm replacing the starter. So hopefully with a little bit of luck, we'll get this in and we'll get it started. So to put it back in, it's the shorter of the two for the top mounting bolt. The longer one goes on the bottom. So I'm going to try and get this threaded in. Perfect fit right there. Time to put the bolt in. So for me to reach in there, I'm using an extension just to get it in there. One of the things to keep in mind is be very careful not to cross thread these going into the engine block. So we're in just to the side of the green zip tie, so I'm just tightening up that top bolt, finger tight. I'm pretty sure I have the torque specifications for this as well. So as we look in here, I've got this one snugged up, and that is the top part of the starter motor, which now you can start to see it under here. I'm going to get rid of a lot of this stuff. New starter motor is going in there, and now I got to fish the other bolt in somewhere down under here. So that's going to be the tricky part. Hopefully I'll get it done. So we're right down here by the starter motor, just in case anyone's wondering. All right, I'm going to pull this out and use that for the bottom one. So I'm going to use the same thing to get the bottom bolt in. All right, a little bit of luck, I hope. Oh, it's like going in here blind. All right, there we go. Please just thread normally. Yeah, the smaller torque wrench didn't work, so I'm using my more heavy-duty one, but at the same time I've got it set up for 32, so there's the 30 line and the 32, so we're good. It just gives me an opportunity to put the right extensions on there. All right, putting this monster down here, but it gets me where I need to be. Perfect. soon as this clicks, we're torqued in. There we go. That one's torqued. And let's do the bottom one. There we go. Torqued. Thankfully. Time to hook up the wires in here, which are gonna be, I think I have to take this guy off here. So we're looking at the solenoid here. This one is already attached, which is great. There's a plug that plugs in at the bottom here, and then a wire that goes on here. So that's what I'll be working on right now. And you can see the rest of the starter motor is in place and looking pretty good. Even got this thing attached here. That wire, which is awesome. Everything is torqued up where those bolts are down here, right here, and the other one on the opposite side. So far looking pretty good. I'm going to put this one on here, which is this wire coming up from here, and it simply is going to go on like so. Put the lock washer on and the nut, tighten that up. Give this one a tighten with the wrench. Right, that is attached, and then this boot is going to go on top of it, I hope. There we go. Those are on. And there's one plug down here somewhere. So last thing is to plug this guy in here in the top. So right here, this is the connection I just did on top, and you've got the other ones in place as well, including that one. So it's just going to be a matter of putting the battery back in place and test starting it. So let's hope it works, and getting rid of this thing too. Anyway, you can once again see the super small space that you get to use for this. So let's take this apart here. That's out. Put a few other pipes back where they're supposed to go. Nice. Everything else is pretty good. Get the battery tray and battery in here. There we go. Get these guys in here. Battery holder. Brackets. Goes along here. So the battery is in. We're going to hook up the terminals and try the starter out. And like I said, keep my fingers crossed that this will work. I really hope it does. And let's put this one in. Okay, let's hope that this thing starts. So for those of you who have never seen what the inside of one of these cars look like, it's a carbureted engine that has a manual choke, which is this thing here. And if the engine's cold, you got to pull it all the way out. And as the engine warms up, you push the choke in. And here's the cool dashboard. At nighttime, these little needles here, they actually have a little cool light at the end, which is really neat. And that is the rest of this car. This car needs to go in for a quick car wash, which I'm going in a sec. Then maybe I will set up the camera for a quick drive. So anyway, here's the starting procedure. Pop the clutch out a little bit. It has the key down here, and let's check out the dials here as we do this. So that means that the choke needs to come out a little bit more. There we go. And then do it. And then you can put the choke in a little bit as the engine warms up. Keeping an eye on the RPMs and everything like that. That's basically it. And of course it's a little fun 5-speed here. That was a pretty good job getting that starter in, I'll tell you, because it could have been a lot worse. Other people have had more issues with it. I was lucky. I had the right tools to get into those bolts. All right, so this is the inside of this little monster. Time to put all the tools back, which to me is super important. All right, so the starter motor is in. I'm just gonna go spray it down at the car wash, and then maybe before this video is done, I'll take you guys out for a ride in it. But let's get this thing washed, and I'm so thankful that that starter motor worked. So I'm gonna back it out, and you guys can check that out. All right, here we go. Yeah. Right on. So I live super close to the car wash, which is really convenient. Wow. This thing's a beast. Well, not really. Voila, car wash, voila. Just gonna do a quick one in here, folks.
So this 1987 CRX is getting a spray down from all the pollen and stuff from the tree. I don't know how many times I've washed this car in my life, so I have to go back to when I bought it when I was 25, so we're looking at many times. Anyway, I'm always impressed on how well this car has stayed together for the past 36 years. And who would have thought that when I bought that brand new, that I'd still have the same vehicle looking more or less the same as it always has through the duration of the time that I've owned it. Anyway, it's always good to keep it in great shape, and it's a fun little car to drive, as you can probably see. And it's not an impossible car to maintain either. So for $5, I was able to soap the car, use a foam brush, rinse it, spray some wax on, and then spray some Rain-X on the windows.
Hey everyone, that concludes the video on changing out the starter motor in this 1987 Honda CRX. So it's kind of bittersweet. That's an original piece of equipment that I've had for 36 years, but I guess it served its purpose. So it looks like we pretty much have an identical refurbished starter motor in, which works. The job was not too difficult, but super tight spaces with potential to go wrong, let's put it that way. So the most serious area is putting the starter motor bolts that hold it to the engine back in without stripping the threads or cross-threading the threads. So if that would have happened, then you're down another completely crazy different road as well, which is not where I wanted to go. So overall, I think things went well. Hopefully you like the additional parts that I featured on this car as far as taking it for a little ride, taking it to the car wash. It's important to keep it in pretty good condition as much as possible. I never winter drive it. I typically don't take it out in wet weather anymore, and I only use it on fair weather days. And it's not really a daily driver for me anymore. It's just something that I take out periodically. So once again, you guys, thanks so much for your support. Greatly appreciated. If you know anyone who's interested in classic Corvettes or older cars like this Honda CRX, please feel welcome to share my videos. I'd greatly appreciate that as well. So until the next video, which is coming up pretty soon, thanks again for your support, and we'll see you in the next one, which I'm already working on.